Okay. Looks like we are live on YouTube. Now let's just see if that is so. Hello everyone, my name is Sheila Corona. Welcome to my channel. Yeah, there we go. All right. Well, there we go. No, where's my chat? Hmm. What is happening there? I'm not quite sure why I am unable to see my chat. Bear with me just a moment, guys. Comments are not, it's not supposed to be private. Okay, if you are seeing this, please. There we go. All right. I don't know what happens, but it's so weird. You know, first of all, there's this huge delay in going from just recording over to doing live with Zoom, between Zoom and YouTube. And I'm not quite sure why that is. But also, it starts out looking like it's a private. They've changed some things. And of course, you know, I don't really know what I'm doing. So there's always that. Today is Sunday, January the 14th, 2024. And I know that the last time I was live, I promised to do a live intuitive hangout session. And I also put it out in several groups that I felt nudged to share it in. And it had the wrong date on there because apparently I was so excited I wasn't paying attention to what day it was. Also, we had a giant storm that night and it would not allow me to go live no matter what I did. Um, Also, now, between then and now, I've discovered that I have run out of room on both my laptop and my storage devices to be able to record and do a live. So I I don't know that this one will be I'll be able to save it. I have remedied that. I'm awaiting delivery today of a new storage device. So, you know, I only I am on a very fixed monthly income, so I only receive you know, money once a month, and I had to wait until you know, the Social Security check arrived so that I could purchase another round of storage. So that should be delivered today, and we should be able to begin doing this on a more regular basis, which I really have been guided to come back. So, but I only do this when it feels right and I'm guided to. So, you know, apologies for anyone. I know it's tough if you don't have it, if I don't schedule it and let you know in advance and that sort of thing. So, we'll see if I'm able to get everything done today that I'm hoping to once that piece of equipment arrives. I will try to do another live tonight. If not, just keep an eye out, you know, put on, if you put the notification bell, if you're a subscriber, then you are notified well, I should say you're supposed to be notified when I go live or upload a video. I also wanted to share with you that one of the things that I'm doing on the channel right now is recording this book. And you can see that it's actually 3 volumes in one. And volumes 1 and 2 are completely recorded. They are in a playlist, each one to themselves. And I am beginning volume 3, which is entitled Becoming. This week, I will begin recording these. Now, I also put these out over on New Light Streaming Love. However, because we are trying to build that channel, I put them out once a day. So uh, I think we're almost at the end of volume 2 over there. And you can find that in the playlist called The Knowledge Vault. Now, one of the books that I did receive, this one I didn't have to ask permission because it says right in the very front of the book that, it's actually encouraged to record and share this book as much and as anyone likes. Um, One of the most influential books that has validated most everything I always felt was true about this journey that I'm on, and um, a lot that I suspected was the case was validated through these channelings. Now, I purchased this book on Amazon. And but I want to tell everyone they are freely available to read at jeshuachannelings.net. I did record this book and I had it up on my former channel, Corona Rising, that was taken down by the censors for no good reason. Actually, they never even explained why. Of course, I know why, but in my heart of hearts, I know it's because, over here on this channel, questioning things and opening oneself to um, possibilities, plausibilities, and actually critical thinking, honestly, logical follow through. Well, if this is so, then that would also make this be so. And boy, don't we see a lot of that, right? Um, but this book, and I got to be honest with you, a lot of light workers might take issues with this book. But it was a highly influential book, so I will be re-recording this because while I do still have those recordings, I mentioned the name of the channel, Corona Rising, quite often, and I'm not going to do that any longer. As I move through recording things, I will simply mention the name of the book. It's not lost on me. Okay. I was made aware, I've said many times on this channel, I only do what I'm drawn to and I follow all my nudges now. I made a promise to myself, to my higher self, that I would follow my nudges, right? I received word and the PDF for the first volume of this book several years ago now. And I wasn't drawn to begin reading it. I knew something within me knew that I would eventually. So I found it on Amazon, and when I had the cash, I purchased it. But I held on to it, and it didn't draw me. I received the information about this book first. And then approximately a year later, this came into my purview, and I knew immediately that not only was I to record it, to read it, but I was also to record it. And I reached out to Pamela Crabbe, the Cribby. I'm not quite sure. I think somebody did tell me it's Cribby. I reached out to her and asked her permission, and she freely gave it because at the time I did not know that it was freely available on the internet at her site, JeshuaChannelings.net. And I do encourage folks to go and take a look at that if they would like. But you can see how much I have. Uh, so this one came first, and as I was finishing up the recordings of this book, a viewer reached out, and unfortunately, that viewer, I was hoping to get a conversation going with that viewer, has sort of disappeared. But then again, the channel itself was taken down. So, and I do everything by magnetic draw. So it's not like I've, told, I do have a mailing list, but again, I don't use it for anything. Again, because believe me, there are a few of you out there that made the effort and found me each and every time. And so to me, that is the way forward for everything. And I'm not going to force anything. This channel is not monetized and it never will be. Everything moving forward for me personally has got to be by magnetic draw. I've spent a lot of time in my life chasing people, meaning, hey, I love you, why don't you love me? Kind of, thing, right? That's not the way I wish to move through the rest of the days on my journey. So this viewer sent me this book, and immediately upon and again, this is another one that is freely available on the internet. It also had been recorded by an AI, and that too is available on YouTube. However, I went ahead and recorded this as well. And it was written in the 30s. Was it 30s or no, in the 40s. The first publishing of this book, I believe, took place it was written in 1941, I think. At any rate, it is not lost on me the way these happened. It's almost as though without this book as a foundation, I wouldn't have understood this book. Without this book would have made a lot less sense to me. So again, for me personally, and I feel as though each being, if you allow yourself to move towards that which is honestly you're drawn to, I've come to feel that this is how and I know sometimes it doesn't make sense, but this is how it actually operates if we allow it, if we don't push things. I don't feel like any of us are late for anything. I don't think we've missed the boat. I used to be concerned that I didn't know my purpose, which I still really don't have a clue exactly what it is. And think if you just move towards that which brings you the highest joy in each moment that presents itself, your purpose will actually be revealed to you. Because the truth of the matter is, I love doing these videos, doing this. I much prefer having conscious conversations with people, but I don't get a lot of folks who are open to that. It's almost like everybody gets a little bit of what I'm going to call the deer in the headlights look. And, they think because they're being on camera that, but the truth of it is, it's more like having a conversation in somebody's living room. Okay, yes, I'm going to put it out. If you're agreeable, for others, because this is how, for me, seeds get planted. I don't have to accept or understand every single thing a being says. Because, first of all, I don't think anybody on this planet has the be all end all when it comes to who we are, what the reality or the truth is to anything. I think that's actually by universal design, first of all. And secondly, I honestly feel like, and applies to all channelers, including myself. Um, and now I've actually heard some channelers actually will tell you this. Magenta Pixie is one. Um, I feel like that is a higher portion of the channeler speaking through them. Now, because it is a speaking through situation, right? I feel as though my higher self gives me information that I can hopefully understand. But also, each one of us, you, me, all of us, have an experiential filter, if you will, that has been developed over the entirety of your lifetime on this planet. And so, as each channeler brings information through, oftentimes I can feel their experiential filter in place. Does not necessarily mean that it's wrong or that it's in any way incorrect. I feel as though, like I said, because all of that has to come through in that particular way. So each being that offers this kind of information, um, it really is a combination of their higher self along with their little self, the personality that's developed over the course of their lifetime. I'm checking on my sage because I saw some smoke wafting across here. Wanted to make sure I didn't have a little fire going on behind me. So, with that said, now for the invitation part, okay? Those of you that have followed me since the days of Conscious Conversation Central will remember, I hope, that I adore having conversations. Oh my. Ooh, the singer of the chalice. I knew the fairies wanted to come out for a reason, but we also had with it the Glencona. So these are the Sunday energetics that I'm doing here. So this invitation goes out to anyone, and again, if it's something that you don't feel comfortable recording with me and putting it out on the internet, that's fine. I really have relaxed myself in some of that, in that I still want to hear your experiences. I still wish to expose myself to others who are beginning to look internally at themselves and at the world as a whole, the realities that they see, questions that they may encounter. The whole purpose, of course, is to hopefully get, conversations that we can publish and share with other beings. However, like I said, I used to only want to do that with folks who were willing to show their face on camera and chat, right? Like I said, I've relaxed myself on that portion. So if you're willing, but you don't want to show your face or say your name, okay, I get it. For me personally, I don't understand that, but I have to respect everybody's situation as to where they are, when they are, right? Um, so this invitation goes out to anyone who has dreams that they don't really understand. I have a segment called the dream space because for a long, long time, I suspected that what happens in dreams are not necessarily simply the psyche working out something. Now, I have said many times that I don't seem to bring back my dreams. I am starting to get snippets for myself of dreams. Um, Not all of them make sense, and the snippets are really very short. But I also, uh, just this morning, I came across another being on Facebook that was, I had stated that, my housemate, Lisa Flamino Rush, and we've talked about this before, and we will again, has had instances where dreams, um, my take on them are uh, other timelines, uh, other instances of us doing things at night. These are all things that are very possible and plausible in my way of thinking of things. And so if you're having anything like that and you want to have a chat about that, like I said, recorded or not, reach out to me either through Facebook, private message. My name is just like it is, like I said, Sheila Corona. And my profile pic is the same as the channel art on the channel here. Or you can reach me at consciousconversationcentral@gmail.com. And there's somebody else. Oh, yes. Okay. I hear you. I hear you. The surrender deck wanted to come out again today, too. So, with all of that being said, I'd like to say, too, that so for me personally, I've shared before that all of last year, all of 2023, I felt here, but not here. Now, that has really lessened a lot. I like this one. Surrender comparisons with other people. Keep your eyes trained on yourself. Focus on your own strengths, attractiveness, and power. And honestly, that actually to me, that actually goes right into um, well, part of why I think some folks don't want to appear on camera, right? Because I don't have anything to add, or I don't look good enough, or, that sort of thing. I used to compare myself to my housemate and some other folks all the time because I wasn't as far along as they were in the spiritual way of looking at things, right? Um, but in truth, I now see that that is a moot point. None of us are on the same exact path, right? We're all here in my fields uh, for experiencing and bringing more understanding of this experience to the whole. Those of you that have been with me a while know that I feel we are all one being and separate, singular, all at the same time. The only thing that really separates us is the vessel that we find ourselves in and the entirety of our own individual, unique experience. So it doesn't do you any good, and it's disingenuous, really, to look at someone else's uh, path, someone else's um, situation as a whole. because they're never the same and they're not meant to be. Um, so, and of course, there's a lot of programming and conditioning that we've all had from the very beginning that has to do with incorrect information, if you ask me, indoctrination to be sure. And, I not to blame our parents or anything, but that's kind of how it is for everyone. Ah, DG Walker. I saw your comment the other day. I'm so glad that you found me again, my love. I hope you'll hit me up soon. We have to have a catch up. Got to know how you are. Um, the only requirement to have a conversation with me is Zoom, and that's freely available at zoom.us. Um, so this one that came out today from my favorite deck, the Rumi Oracle by Elena Fairchild and Rasuli, is card number 36, Passion of the Wild Red Mother. And I'd like to share here that the minute I saw this card come out, I am heavily aware that a lot of the sunrises and sunsets recently that I've seen pictures of, most particularly out west in the United States, but some of it is coming this way, tend to be this intense red. And I know that my housemate was, given some information from her team that when she sees red skies, she will know that things are about to change. Now, she asks specifically because we're seeing pictures. No, she must experience them, and which we have not had here in North Carolina quite yet. So this is the Passion of the Wild Red Mother. It is card number 36. Numerologically, that's a 9, which generally, as 3, 6, and 9 are the frequential things that Tesla talked about in understanding the universe, right? 9 also generally means the end of a cycle. So it begins here. Don't ask the conscious ones about the wine. Behold the glowing effect of it in the eyes of drunks. Rumi. Now, quite frankly, when I first read this years ago, I was like, well, wait a minute, what the hell? But if I then extrapolate that out to other things, I would say that, well, since I've been on this path for myself, looking only at myself and changing things within myself, the difference in me energetically, physically, and appearance wise is completely different. Now, I have also had some timeline jumps where I know I'm in a different body, but that again still is the same thing for me, right? In other words, for me, if one is moving in the right direction, kind of shows itself in a lot of different ways, at least, again, just for me. Bring me your unreasonableness, your insanity, your love without reason, and your passion. The passion that makes you crazy and shoos all logical restraint from your mind. Leave your ordered thoughts, sensible plans, and appropriate attire at my door. Put on your animal fur and sing to me in gibberish. When my beautiful goats die, I make drums from their skins, and their spirits live on in my passionate play. When my birds drop their feathers, I gather them and put them in my hair. Come drum with me as I place feathers in your hair, and we honor the spirits of my animals, of your animal nature too, wild and free as you are in truth. Stick your tongue out and growl at those who try to tame you with guilt, shame, and fear. Do you think I give a damn for any of their silly games? Well, if you knew me, you would know that I feel that same way. Those games of reason and logic, of course, you should do it this way, they say. It makes sense. But I care not for what makes sense. I care for what brings you alive. You, oh blazing angel, are invited by the wild red mother to participate in a dance of divine passion. You may be an activist, a poet, an advocate for justice, or a writer, content in your own world of dreams, or perhaps you are a healer devoted to the liberation of the suffering of others and hungry to commune with ancient wisdom. Perhaps you are all of these, or some other exquisite amalgam of holy energy in form. Whatever your nature, there is passion in your heart, a fire for something more powerful than fear that can become the fuel for your life journey. If you accept the invitation of the wild red mother, of course. This is the invitation. Now, I'd like to just say, how interesting is it that I put the word invitation in this before I mean, I shuffled and drew this card on camera. That's kind of interesting to me. This is the invitation to lay aside despair, to lay aside doubt in the capacity of the human heart, even your frustration and impatience. It is time to quit whipping yourself and others, no matter how noble the intention behind the whip may be, and start dancing instead. Will you join her, the wild red mother, in her exuberant play? You can choose to lead through joy, to heal through love, to transform suffering into what it is meant to be, the crucible through which ecstasy reveals itself. You do not have to analyze, to stay in the throes of process and ordered stages. You can just choose this passionate path now, if you wish. You are ready. It is open to you. Will you accept it? It takes a great spirit, one with much practice of studied rebellion, to be ready to cast off the shackles of society from a place of loving defiance rather than fearful anger, and to playfully say to the world, I have tasted your stale bread and underdeveloped wine, and have had quite enough now. I decline your offer to gorge upon such lesser fruits. I prefer to feast upon bread hot and fresh, and wine that is mouth-filling and unctuous. Join me if you like. It is an abundant feast, and there is plenty for all. Which I totally agree with. Even in the spiritually minded, there can be a driving fear. I've seen that. It's one of the reasons I feel the Joshua channelings is such an important work, especially for light workers, in my view. Uh, so, even in the spiritually minded, there can be a driving fear, thinly veiled as devotion to the most arduous path. Perhaps for a while that serves as a truth of sorts, but eventually there will come a time when smaller truths must give way to larger ones, so the soul can truly be free to grow. Passion is the bridge that leads you from a smaller truth that suffering is necessary in order to heal towards a larger and more luscious experience of life as a divine embrace. Yes, sometimes the divine lover, in all enthusiasm for the sport, bites you too hard or grabs you with so much desire that a bruise remains. However, the passion behind such fervent embrace can leave you begging for more life, more of that boundless love, even when it knocks you on the head whilst grabbing for you. This is possible when you give up on judgment of what is good and what is bad. Now, I've said that an awful lot on this channel on what is apparently spiritual and what is not. I'm sorry, I'm seeing that that song that I came across a while back on the internet. A little gal wrote it. It says, "I'm more spiritual than you. I do yoga, and I," that's it was terribly funny to me because we all tend to think we know the way because we found something that works for us. Believe you me, I was the worst at that. But if just because something works for you does not mean it will work for someone else. And there is a truth in what can be good for one is not good for another. So true and false is really more how this all works. To me, anyway, again, this is all from my own personal perspective. So, and of course, I lost my place. So, this is possible when you give up on judgment of what is good and what is bad, on what is apparently spiritual and what is not. And when you just realize everything in your life is leading to love, whether through caress or a slap, the divine lover is seducing you. If you can accept this, you can certainly give yourself permission to love what you love, to live how you wish to live, and to forget about holding yourself back because some choices make sense and others supposedly do not. Now, that's about the truest statement I think I've heard in a while. If you are able to rise to the passion that is possible for you, you'll let the wild red mother consume your philosophies and doctrines. She'll feast on your religion and your plans and devour your doubts and certainties. She'll tear away your need for maps and directions. Just when you think there's nothing left, she'll grab your hands and spin with you. You'll tilt your head back and laugh so wildly with her, spinning together along with the earth upon her axis. With a daring and bold love for life that will not be quashed, that wild red mother speaks to you now. You can choose passion over fear, time and time again. So I invite you to paint the world red with me, with passionate nature. Let us laugh and change the world. This oracle comes to you with a message. It is a big cosmic yes. It is also an invitation to let go of suffering and struggle, not with regret or shame, but with gentle acknowledgement that it has had its purpose. It now has a bigger purpose, that of passion, which calls you to engage in the embrace of life with more abandon than ever before. Now is the time to let go of belief systems and, quote, needing to know anything. It is time to trust in the beating of your own heart and in the people, places, and experiences that truly move you, whether it makes sense or appears logical or not. The wild red mother comes to you. I'm going to stop there because it's come up more than once while I was reading this. If I look back over the last several years, energetically, I see very clearly where every being on this planet has been asked, nay, encouraged to feel into everything for themselves. But see, because we are programmed and conditioned from birth not to trust ourselves, it was an accident of how everything happens. We all tend to think of children as these lesser beings. They are creators the same as we. Yes, you don't want them to run out into traffic, true enough. And there are ways of sharing that in a way that is much more empowering for children, right? Don't ask me how exactly, because don't think for one second that my grown child wasn't heavily programmed, because he certainly was by me. I see that now where I didn't see it then. However, I see very clearly where many have supplanted their own knowing and taken the word of experts, people with letters after their name that have been highly educated, read that indoctrinated, because those things didn't happen through trial and error. Those things came through education, which, if not put into practice of trial and error, you don't know for a fact is one way or the other. So I see where everyone is being asked to trust themselves and move in that way. The wild red mother comes to you when you are ready for her at a soul level. Your mind may think she is a thief in the night, ready to pilfer all you hold near and dear, and be utterly in terror at the prospect. But your soul will be gurgling with anticipation of freedom. It will fill your heart with sweet love and urge you to let go. Let her have her way with you, even if it means she crashes into you in the dark as she fumbles and drags you, half asleep, to go out dancing with her under the full moon, wearing nothing but your animal skin and a smile. She'll soothe any bumps and bruises you receive in opening up to life with the most tender and effective of ministrations, for she is just as tender a nurse as she is a wild, raging dance partner. This oracle also brings you guidance. You have divine permission to do something ridiculous. Be it ridiculous in your own mind for your age or career path or some identity or version of yourself you or another hold. The more ridiculous or inappropriate it seems, the more it moves you from your heart without rhyme or reason, the better. This is not about hurting people or behaving without moral code. And generally, everybody jumps right to that. As soon as you say things like that, they jump right to, well, we can't all do what we want to do. And that sort of thing, which makes no sense to me at all, but okay. uh, it is not about the ego at all. The wild red mother eats ego for breakfast. This guidance is about listening to the truth of your heart and allowing your soul to throb with aliveness, with making that more important than any restriction, opinion, judgment, or fear of the mind, yours or others, could summon. I'm sorry. I'm always so amazed when I do these readings because generally I look at this as, for me, but I also see where you know, if you're here, if you've been drawn here, then there is something here for you as well. Now, the other two that came out are from the Fairies Oracle, and the singer of the chalice is card number 12, which numerologically is a 3, which I hold as the Trinity, yes. And what I feel like in some ways energetically we're moving toward. In other words, away from a duality where it's right or wrong, true or false, because there's so much more to all of this than we've ever allowed, well, we've ever been told, we've ever allowed ourselves to even consider, to be honest with you. So the key words for this card are trust, joy, patience, creativity, hope, miracles. This singer holds the chalice from which a rainbow of energies pours like the richest wine. Trust, love, patience. These are things we think of having or not. We even give ourselves credit for having them as if we made them ourselves, and yet they are natural energies of the cosmos, which flow around us when we are blocking them. People often think that love and hate are two sides of the same emotional coin, but that isn't quite true. And love is not simply the absence of hate, nor is hate the absence of love. They are altogether different things, as can easily be seen. When we are angry, it wears us out and leaves us feeling like less than we were. But when we love, it energizes us and we feel larger and richer than we were before that burst of love began flowing through us. This is because anger comes from within, burning from our own substance, while love is an energy that flows through us, enlightening and expanding us. The other energies from this chalice are also like that. Patience, for example, is not merely the absence of impatience, it is a joyful, loving willingness to wait for a process to bring us to where we want to be. And I want to pause there to say, how many of us, myself included, have said, oh, I wish everybody would just wake up. We need to rip the Band-Aid off now, and everything has to be exposed now. That won't work. For lots of reasons, it wouldn't work. We would send a whole bunch of folks into some sort of a traumatic spiral. And I can see where this is exactly that. Each of us will be given information that we can handle when we can handle it. Yeah, there's a lot of folks who run away, and that is their choice, and we have to allow them to run. It's part of their path. It's where, for me, I see where, again, the Jeshua channelings was such a big help in regards to what light workers, really are meant to do here. We're meant to get ourselves in hand, not everybody else, because everybody else will care for themselves as they see fit. Um, so let's see. Let's see. The other energies of the chalice, yeah. I'm sorry. I put the card down and then I moved it. So the same is true of most. Now I'm going to start that back. The other energies from this chalice are also like that. Patience, for example, is not merely the absence of impatience, it is a joyful, loving willingness to wait for a process to bring us to where we want to be. It contains trust and love and a special quality of expectant gratitude within it. The same is true of trust. In fact, all of these wonderful feelings are energies that flow through us when we are open to them. They each feel much like the others. And right now, just at this moment, as I write this to you, I am being given a glimpse of something wonderful. They really are all one thing, something we don't have a word for. We need a word that includes trust and love and compassion and healing and patience and all of the other feelings that enhance and enlighten our being when we allow them to flow through us. I ask the fairies here if there is a fairy name for this rainbow blissful feeling. They nod, smiling, and shrug. I get an unspoken feeling that if you have the feeling, you don't need a name. And anyone who hasn't got the feeling isn't going to understand a word for it. It's just one of those things, like the mystical experience of ecstasis that we can talk about with an understanding, or we can understand and not really explain to someone who hasn't already got it. So the fairies nod, get it? I'd never seen this before now. Just this moment, it is suddenly obvious as the fairies show me that this means that we don't have to learn how to open ourselves to each of them individually. When we open our hearts and souls, that energy can be focused through so many different lenses of feeling, like white light making rainbows through a prism. If we can learn to be open to any of these, then we can be open to them all. If we just remember to say all, no, if we just remember to all, and she has in parentheses, I say all, knowing that it is a mighty big all, we have to do is first stop doing the things that close us down. Let go of the attitudes, beliefs, and emotions that block this energy. Second, we need to actively invite these energies to flow through us. And all that takes is asking. The thing is, the energy is already there. Our asking merely tells our own higher self and the singers that we, on this conscious level, are ready to accept it. It's like opening your arms to hug someone or opening a door to let them in. Although the taste of the contents of this chalice may seem bitter or strange at first, it always leaves a sweet, clean, sparkling taste in the mouth. With the help of the singer of the chalice and of the fairies, you too can get this feeling that is all the good feelings in one: unconditional love, trust, hope, healing, patience, and so on. Open is open. Be open. If you don't know how, ask. It is right there. That's one of the things that even, oh gosh, it's been so long ago now when I very first started this channel. I That's the one thing I said. Be open. Keep oneself open. Whenever I find myself trying to label something now or put it in a particular sort of category based on my previous experiences, I remind myself not to do that, to allow it to reveal itself to me. Because if I think it's this, then it automatically will be that, exactly what I think it is. But by allowing it to reveal itself to me, now that's a whole different, and quite frankly, no one on this planet has all the answers. Oh, they think they do because they've experienced this or that, and they've been given this information by this or that or whatever. And that's fine for them. But I got to be honest with you. To me, those are the kind of people I run from, because what you have is a current belief in something. Now, I do say I have a current belief in something, but I'm also open to seeing where that belief is misguided, unfounded. And the only way to do that is to remain open to what I could be shown. Believe me, I have been shown some things that I held as one way, only to find out it is something else. Now, it's kind of interesting to me that this character came out as well, right? Because at this moment, there's this huge divide in things, right? But this character plays a very important role, and it certainly has in my life. This is called the Glenconer. It is card number 62, which numerologically is an 8. For me, the number 8 is the upward facing infinity symbol. And it also represents not just manifestation, but to me, eventually materialization. And so the key words for this card are illusion, delusion, lust, projection, clear sight. Have you ever noticed that when we really, really want someone or something, we tend to see it without clarity? The object of our lust looks flawless and glamorous, which should tell us something right away, but usually it doesn't. He says his name is Smooth Harry, but that may be a little illusion of his own. The Glencona doesn't change his shape to tempt us with our own mental confusions and paradoxes. He simply wears a mirror in which we see our desires temptingly displayed. He doesn't try to fool us. He simply allows us to fool ourselves. Well, he may try just a little, just to make the test a little more difficult. Well, that's very interesting. That's twice in one day testing has come up in my field. It's one of the things that we've talked about with the dream space. Very interesting. After all, we can be more proud of passing a difficult test than an easy one, can't we? Smooth Harry also appeals to our vanity, and the more we have of it, the easier his work is. A little flattery, and we'll believe whatever he wants us to swallow, especially since it is just what we want to swallow anyway. Of all the fairy challengers, Smooth Harry is the most likely to be sly. He practices a sort of emotional judo where he lets our own desires lead us into a fall. As we rush headlong toward our vision of perfection, he need only step to one side as we cast ourselves at him, and down we go. not fun. But maybe, perhaps, we might just learn something from it. It is not good to make decisions when blinded by lust, whether it is lust for a person, a thing, or an idea. We need to pause and take our time before making actual commitments. We need to read the fine print, check, and you know how many folks don't do that? Myself included, I've been guilty of that as well. We don't give ourselves enough time because we've all been told, well, I need your answer right now. Well, we got to feel into things, allow another portion of ourself to guide us in these sorts of things and read the fine print is my feeling on it. And so we need to pause and take our time before making actual commitments. We need to read the fine print, check out the foundations, get a mechanic to test the oh so beautiful secondhand car. If we are considering buying something, we can refuse to let ourselves be rushed into it and take time to make sure it is really what we think it is. And the truth of that matter is, I've decided for myself because I've learned through looking into my own blueprint that I am what is called a projector in the human design way of looking at oneself. And as a projector, I have to allow an emotional projector, I have to allow myself to feel into it because as the projectors are considered seers, which is another reason I chose that moniker for this channel. It made perfect sense to me now that I know this, how I've made that mistake in the past by rushing myself, right? It's a lot because I pick up the energy of another person. Doesn't mean that it's my energy that I'm reading. It could be someone else's. And so I have to give it. So if anyone's trying to rush someone or you into anything, that's not in your highest and best, and not the highest and best for all either. Let it go. Another opportunity will come along, is the way I feel about it for myself anyway. So we can refuse to let ourselves be rushed into it and take the time to make sure it is really what we think it is. If we are considering making a commitment to other people, we need to take our time and really get to know them much better. This is another lesson in seeing the truth behind a beglamored surface. Though in this case, it is we who have cast the glamour. And you can see he's actually wearing sort of a mask there as well, right? So, wow. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope this has been helpful for you. It certainly has confirmed a few things for me. And I appreciate you being here. And for those of you who stuck around to the very end, uh, you know, I appreciate everyone who does. But again, this really is just for me, and I've been told that it's helpful to others. So to me, that's a win-win situation. Surrendering comparisons with other people is also very important. Just because your neighbor the whole point of this exercise is that we are each unique and we came here to experience things in a particular manner, not like, this guy over here. Why would anyone want to do that anyway? So, at any rate, I hope that you will continue to move towards that which brings you the highest joy in each moment that presents itself to you. It really is possible. All you have to do is slow yourself down for a moment, consider whether or not there may be another perspective through which you may view whatever it is that has presented itself. Until we meet again, my friends, I hope that you will be well.